It's not normal for somebody in my family to graduate. My grandparents didn't graduate. My grandma got pregnant, so she stopped her education in 7th grade. My grandpa stopped education in 5th grade. My dad got his GED. Like, oh, maybe, if I don't graduate, it's not going to be so bad. But once you hit high school, you start knowing that, not a lot of people graduate, and you don't want to be like everybody else. You want to graduate and do better.
Cruz believes that the transition from elementary to middle school is similar as the one from middle to high school.
Transitioning was kind of the same, like going from, elementary to middle school, because it's like still the same concept, but people are different. You start wanting to hang out with the cool people, and the cool people are the ones who do bad things like drink, drugs. My friends were always the ones to go party or drink or be like, hey, let's jib.
While her family carried high expectations, most of the time Cruz was forced to teach herself.
I wouldn't really rely on them to help me with my class stuff, so I would have to, learn it on my own and learn faster. They expected me to graduate because I am a female in my family. Females graduate and get education.
There have been times in Cruz's past where money and poverty have held her back from her education and future goals.
Poverty, because you have to worry more about money than education in my family. Like, money was the main goal and focus, and your education, because we needed money more to survive. And yeah, one of our main things was worrying about, are we gonna have light, are we gonna have water, are we gonna have transportation.
Being the oldest of 7 means sacrificing your own school day to help your younger siblings.
When you can't find a babysitter, or one of your parents have to work again, or you don't have any family members who are willing to watch the kids, you have to stay home, and you can't go to school, and it's taking away from your education.
Cruz was able to flip the switch her sophomore year when she met the right people to help her get involved in her school.
My sophomore year, I wanted to get into more things, be more active in school, because that looks great on your college resumes and stuff. And then now I'm just focusing on my grades and my attendance. I met new people, so they made me go on track instead of hanging out with the wrong people. So it helps me with my grades and my attendance.
She has some simple advice for those with goals after high school.
Does that need education? Think about it. Does that need education? If they say yes, I would tell them, so you're not going to get there if you don't go to school.
I was always really big with reading and math. I was just really into school when I was little. My dad graduated high school. My mom dropped out after middle school. So there's not a lot of high education in my family. I'm actually the first generation college student, which is really important to me.
Marin never had the weight of expectations from home, but instead decided to set a high bar for herself.
I think I set the expectations pretty high for my parents just because I was always really into school. So I was always expected to be at school. I was always expected to get good grades just because I've always kept that standard. After a while, since I just kept bringing home those A's and B's, it was just kind of expected, and it was odd when I would bring anything below that.
Through her own self-discovery, she knew as a freshman that she should begin planning her future now.
Freshman year, when it was just like, I have 4 more years until I have to think about what I'm going to do with my life. And I had to set goals and just kind of discover what I like to do and what I thought I wanted to do with myself. Graduating high school was always important just because I always wanted to be that example for my brother and sister. They don't have a positive and educated role model to look to. So I wanted to be that person that inspired my brothers and my sisters and all the kids in my family to strive for better just because they were capable of it and because that they deserve it. My parents were they never played a big part in my education. They were always very supportive of it, but they were never able to help me with my schoolwork.
With neither parent graduating high school, Marin began making the right moves at the start of her junior year.
Second semester, that's when I flipped my switch because especially in my AVID classroom, it was time for us to narrow down our school choices. It was time to think of what we were going to do and how we were going to do it. That was when we were thinking of the scholarships that we wanted to apply for, whether we're going to graduate or not, were we on the right track. So that's when it really hit me that I had to just kind of decide what I wanted to do with myself and where I wanted to end up.
Marin also believes there are positives and negatives about being involved in your school.
When you're getting involved in high school, you're creating connections. I regret not being involved my freshman and sophomore year because maybe it wouldn't have been as hard on me my junior and senior year. Just because since I was new to being involved, I didn't know how to manage my time well, and I didn't know how to juggle everything at once.
She keeps her schedule packed by helping out at home as much as she can, keeping several part-time jobs, and playing soccer at the college level.
Everything I'm doing is going to help me when it comes to looking for a job. Get out of your comfort zone a little bit. You don't always have to go straight forward in.
Erin never let the weight of family issues or lack of money stop her academic journey.
They just should be their own example. They should want better for themselves. Problems at home are definitely hard, and they do haunt. They do follow you everywhere because at the end of the day, that's where you are. You live at home, so you're living with those problems over your shoulder. It was my escape. That's where I liked being at school, and that's probably why I got so involved, because I like being away from home. Keeping me busy was probably my best decision in high school, because since I was always busy, I didn't really think about what was around me, like at home.
High school is kind of like your first job almost. You have to show up, you have to be on time, and you can leave. You have different tasks that you have to do, and you have work that you're assigned. Same thing with a job. The only difference is you're not getting paid. High school is kind of like you're shaping yourself into an adult. So if you don't take high school seriously, you're not going to take the real world seriously.
At one point in elementary school, money was tight for Hansel, but she still had strong support from her family at home.
Everyone goes through like a time period where it's harder than them. In elementary school, it was a little rough. Money was a little tight, but I mean, it didn't affect me really because I didn't have to worry about that. They still provided for us.
Ultimately, involvement in her school has led Hansel to meeting new friends, setting high expectations, and creating her own opportunities for her future.
Being involved in high school is it kind of drives you to do better in school. It keeps you involved in school and makes friendships, and having friends in high school is really important because it helps keep you on track and doing the things that'll help you graduate so you can all graduate together. Finding something to be a part of really helps get you out there and makes the transition a lot easier. Being able to handle all of that pressure and be involved looks really good on a resume. In order to participate in clubs and sports, you have to have good grades, so that also motivates you to do well in school. Definitely get involved because it really helps you get on track in school, and it also builds that connections that you might need in your future.